Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you had a second chance? Are you willing to take a gamble, open your heart, and change your thoughts and perspective for a new chance at life? Welcome to the Wisdom Cafe. I'm your host, Arthur Tassinello, a relationship and leadership coach and mentor. Join me each week for insights into how you can have more love, happiness, peace, and abundance in your life without giving up who you are. Know that you are powerful and you are the governor of your life. So listen, learn, and leap into a better future. Hi everyone, here we are live at the Wisdom Cafe today. Now, as the opening credits come up, we talk about taking a gamble. And I have two wonderful young ladies here today that are taking a gamble on kids. But before I get into that, I like to talk a lot about love. It's my passion, it's my foundation, it's all about what I write about, because without love in your heart, the world is going to be a very dark place. So I always like to promote that and always ask you, what are you doing about love today? Maybe even trying to love yourself. That's a start. Look in the mirror. Say, hey, I love you. And I hope that you mean it. Look deep inside of you. Find out who you are. Now, everything I write about, I've written 3 books. If this is the first time you've showed up here, I've written 3 books. My first one was in 2009, Quantum Shift into Greatness. It started out about talking about how spirituality and science are on the same page, talking about quantum physics and more, and morphing that into all the things that you can do in your life to make life better for yourself and other people. My next book was about 8 years later. It's called 21 Days to Love. And in 21 Days to Love, again, this is more specific, talking about all the virtues in life. Are you virtuous? Are you compassionate? Do you care about other people? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you sincere? Do you have integrity? All of those things, all of the things that we all like to hear from other people, all the things that we like to know that the world is working that way. But without you doing it, and without me doing it, well, it really doesn't happen. We can't always expect somebody else to do it if we're not. So why not be the catalyst? Why don't you come forward? Why don't you be kind and loving every day to somebody? And we know that as human beings, we can't always do that. It's not always the easiest thing to do. We are human. We have issues in our life, as I was talking to these wonderful young ladies that I'll introduce in a minute, about life has issues. Every day, maybe it's not every day, hopefully not for you, but there's always something coming up. And maybe you feel out of sorts, but there's a way for you to get back into you, to understand you. And that brings me to my 3rd book. And this one, why I love this one so much, because it's really a workbook for you. It's called Your Key to Love and Happiness. And there's so many questions in here just for you to find yourself, just for you to understand who you are. How do you navigate through life? Can you do it a little bit better? Again, I'll come back to, can you be a little kinder and be a little more loving? If you keep that top of mind, it changes everything. It just doesn't change you. It changes how people see you, how people react to you, and it changes your relationships, whether it's with your family or friends or acquaintances or somebody that you work with. We often talk about, you have problems at work, and you have problems at work because you're not managing those relationships properly. So now I'd like to introduce Traci, Israel, and Barbara Scarlata. They are from Speak Up for Kids. Now, I really love this because I only met them recently, and I really wanted them to be here today because this, to me, is so important and so impactful for everyone, really. because this is what I call giving your heart. This is really called giving your love to somebody else, to want a better life for them. I could get very emotional just thinking about all these little kids that need help, that need someone to speak up for them, to be an advocate for them. And that's what Speak Up for Kids does. So right now, I'd like to introduce, well, I've already introduced them, but one of you, either Barbara or Tracy, would you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and just go ahead.
Arthur, I guess I'll step up.
Please do.
And thank you so much for having us on today.
It's my pleasure.
I am a retired attorney from the Philadelphia suburbs. For the 15 years before I retired and moved to Florida, I was the attorney representing the children in foster care. I was able to see firsthand during that 15-year period what these children experience, the trauma that they go through. These are little children who are abused by their families, abandoned or neglected by their families. I've represented, I can't tell you how many children who are in the hospital for acute fractures on top of a healing fracture, and you wonder how many times that child's been beaten. I can't tell you how many times I've represented children whose parents were in jail because of drug addiction or an alcohol addiction, or whose parents sent them to school with no money for lunch or no lunch at all because they just simply did not have anything to give their children. And now, since COVID hit, there's an awful lot of families who are homeless, and they cannot take care of their kids, not because they don't want to, but because they simply can't. So when I moved to Florida, I was determined to do something to help these children. The most amazing thing to me is Palm Beach County is known as a wealthy county. In this wealthy county, at any one time, there's anywhere between 1,400 and 1,600 children in the dependency court system. That's 1,400 to 1,600 children who've had to be taken out of their home because their parents cannot take care of them. What's even worse is that almost one half of those children are ages 5 and under. They are removed from their homes. They don't have any idea why. They think it's their fault, and they're placed in the homes of total strangers. Sometimes they're really lucky and a relative can take them, but all too often they're placed in a foster home. That's where we come in. Let me backtrack a little bit and tell you about Speak Up for Kids. The people in the courtroom who advocate for these children are part of the Office of the Guardian Ad Litem. The Office of the Guardian Ad Litem is government funded, which means it's underfunded. So in 2008, Speak Up for Kids was started as a fundraising arm for the Guardian Ad Litem volunteers so that they could do what they really need to do for advocate for these poor children. We have since expanded, and I could turn it over to Tracy now so she can explain to you in some of the ways we've expanded.
Well,
I'm Tracy. I'm the Community and Development Outreach Director of Speak Up for Kids. My background's a little bit different. I have a public relations background, and then I was a stay-home mom for a bit, and I always said to myself, if I go back to work, it's going to be for something that has meaning, something special to my heart. And I always felt like children were the most innocent victims in our society, and especially in South Florida where we have, thank gosh, situations, a lot of people that can help. I thought this was a really important time to get the message out, especially since we've had so many changes in our world, and we're hoping for a lot of kindness from everybody. So in my job and in Speak Up for Kids, what we all are trying to do is trying to bring normalcy to children whose lives are not so normal. So we're doing the best that we can to fill in for the gaps. Unfortunately, we can't change the world, but what I've always learned from being in this situation is you change one child's life, you have changed the world.
well, so if you don't mind, I'm going to stop for a second because I want to say that you are changing the world. One kid at a time is changing the world. One person at a time is changing the world. I don't care who it is, because you change one, and I guarantee you that that next time that they do something, they're going to change it for somebody else.
That's true.
So
it does have that domino effect.
Right, it has the domino effect all the time. But what I want to get to, because unfortunately we don't have a lot of time in this program, I want to understand, because everybody does something because they have a why about it.
Right.
So you spoke to it a little bit, and Tracy, you first. what's your why for doing this? What really spoke to you? I mean, you have to have heart, and you have to have a lot of love in your heart to do these things. So what was that for you? What was the spark that said, I have to do this?
It was just, it's always been a passion for me as to always, I felt that kids need a voice. And they are, like I said, the most innocent victims in society. And I feel like if a child doesn't have someone to speak up for them, that's rough. So it just was always something that I wanted to do. And I just finally, I met the executive director, and I just was so impressed with the organization. And I said, this is it. This is what I want to do.
And Barbara, I know that, you know, being an attorney and you saw this, you kind of explained that a little bit, but what was that leap for you? What made you say, you know what, I guess I had enough of being an attorney, right? Or maybe you were doing it while you were still an attorney, but all of a sudden you said, I have to do something, and this is the program that I want to be in to do something about it. What was your why?
And that's exactly what I thought. Seeing these kids while I was representing them, seeing what they went through, seeing how much they were hurting, how much trauma they went through. I could not do that here in Florida because I'm not licensed to practice in Florida, but I can help in other ways. And I wanted to work for an organization that gives back to the community. And there's nothing more important in our community than our children. They are our future. We work, our mission is to make sure that they don't end up in jail like their parents, that they don't end up in need of mental health treatment that they're not getting, that they don't end up homeless. We are changing their lives one child at a time.
We actually just had a graduation ceremony for the kids that have graduated high school or graduated college, and it was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. We had this amazing event for them, so that was a really nice thing. We had about 35 kids who graduated, and that was a fabulous thing because it changes their future. They have the support. A lot of them won scholarships, and which actually leads to, we have a Student Speak Up for Kids program as well, where we have local students, different chapters throughout all of Palm Beach County, where the children are advocates for the kids in foster care, and they create projects on their own, and it's tremendous. And just about any school, we have about 15, I think it's 15 chapters right now, but we're looking for more. So, and it's a great way to earn community service hours too, and it's a great heartfelt thing to do.
So what you,
And if
Barbara,
I could just
you
jump
mentioned that
in.
there's 1,400 to 1,600 kids in the system all the time. How many kids, I'm not sure the word that I'm looking for, get out of the system and get out of the system successfully, like every week or every month? What is that turnover like?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
So
but
if 1,400 kids come into the system,
right.
how soon do some of them get out of the system and find a life?
That's a really good question, and it's so case specific. We can have a child. Let me just tell you a story from my past. I've represented a child who was age 9. His mom had mental health issues. She was unfortunately going through some issues, and she finally got a job, and she was so proud of the fact that she got a job, but she didn't know what to do with her son when she went to work. So she chained him to a radiator while she was at work. She thought she was doing the right thing. She thought she was protecting him and keeping him safe by chaining him to the radiator. After a few weeks, people found out about it. We came in, we took the child out of their home, and then we worked with mom to get her the help that she needed, and we worked with the child to get him the mental health that he needed to get over the trauma. We were able to reunite mom and son within a 6-month period. So there are plenty of situations where the parents are able to change the home life in a short period of time. There's other situations where they can't. Dad might be in jail and unable, for years, and unable to take care of his child. Mom may have continuing serious mental health issues. And in those cases, we do what we can to reunite the parent with the child. The hope, the goal, the initial goal is always reunification of the child with the parent. And most of the time, we're able to do that average time is probably somewhere between a year and a half. But there's some situations where they cannot be reunited with parent. And then we start looking for a more permanent home for the child, either an adoptive resource or a permanent living environment for them.
So,
Right, and we have our foster Palm Beach for that too, as well, that is helping with that
do
as
you
well.
work with other organizations as well?
We do, we try to.
And what are some of the other organizations that can be an assistance to you or that you're an assistant to them?
We work with a number of organizations in Palm Beach County to assist the children to make their lives better. We work with Oasis, and we work with, I can't even think of all of them at this point.
We never have any issues with, we are happy to work
Right.
with any organization. That's actually the merrier.
Right,
So
right.
we like to be able to do that too.
And if I could just jump in for the moment and tell you about one of our most recent programs. It's called Embrace Kids. These children, as I said earlier, are taken from their home. They're put in the homes of strangers. They then go have to live with those strangers. They have been removed from their home with just the clothes on their back. We make sure that they have clothes. We make sure that they have school supplies. We make sure that they can live as normal a life as possible. When they go back to school and they're sitting next to their classmate, and their classmate is able to sign up for soccer lessons, we want to make sure that they can sign up for soccer lessons. If their classmate is able to attend summer camp, we want to make sure that our kids can attend summer camp. If they want to go on a class trip with their classmates, we make sure that that happens. We want them to break away from the stigma of being a foster child and consider themselves as normal a child as possible.
We create a lot of the normalcy with a lot of help from the community, which has been tremendous. We have a very, very generous community in Palm Beach County. We do corporate sponsorships, we do collections, we'll do anything. We do events, we do whatever we can come up with. We're meeting people's goals to help them do their social responsibility so that we can help the kids in turn. So that's where we're at, and that's what we try to do, and we come up with a lot of great events. We have an event that we're doing, a Margarita Monday that's even coming up. We're doing it for the Boca Chamber for Boca Festival Days, and we're doing that at Rocco's Tacos, and all the proceeds go to, the foster kids, as well as we have galas. We do gala events. We have ours coming up. It's 70s theme. So we constantly have events going on. We partner with local stores and local restaurants, and do sip and shops. It's endless. And then in addition, we'll do a lot of events for the kids. We'll raise funds, and a lot of the corporations in the area will support us financially, and we can do these great events like we've done a carnival. We do our Winterfest every year, and it's a carnival specifically for the foster kids. So it's a special day for them to go on rides, to be, to have, an exciting, fun day. So it's a great event, foods, and there's all kinds of local sponsors that put tables and do activities for the kids. And it's a great day for them. We do our Storybook Village where the stories come to life, and that's specifically for the kids at Mounts Botanical Gardens. So we have a lot of really great events that we try to give the kids a special day as well.
All
And
right,
this
we're
is
going to
all
take a little
part of
break here for a
normalizing
minute.
their lives.
We're going to take a little break. All right, so we'll be back in a minute, folks, and see ya. Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if you had a second chance? Are you willing to take a gamble and change your thoughts and perspective? Welcome to the Wisdom Cafe. I'm your host, Arthur Tassinello, a relationship and leadership coach and mentor. Join me each Wednesday at 3 p.m. to explore what it is to be human and create that second chance.
You've been watching The Wisdom Cafe with Arthur Tassinello. For more information, please contact the studio at 888-994-4995 or send an email to arthur@arthurtassinello.com. And now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Wisdom Cafe. I'm so enjoying this. The knowledge that I'm getting from Barbara and Traci about Speak Up for Kids is absolutely amazing. And it's so enlightening because you don't see this. I know that you don't see this. It's not top of mind for most of us, and that we know that these things are happening in our country and in the world, but we don't often just like think about maybe there's something that we can do. I know that some of you out there that are watching this will want to step up and want to do something, so you can always, I think their website's coming up in a little bit, where you can actually go to their website and you can see what's going on, and you can sign up for programs and be of assistance. I want to just briefly, if you could talk about, what kind of support do you need? What is that? What kind of people do you want to see? Do you just want anybody to come in to help with something, or is there specific things that people or that they can do, or skills that they need to be part of this?
We love to have people volunteer for us, for our events in our office. There's never too much help. There's always something we can find for somebody to do. We also love, obviously, support from the community financially, and also just in helping us with community events or anything. There's pretty much anything we're happy to take for support.
If you go on our website, you can see our list of events, and you also can sign up as a volunteer. There's always, always, always volunteer opportunities. And if your company wants to do something for back to school, collect items for the kids, we appreciate that. If your company wants to do something for collecting gifts for the holidays, we always appreciate that.
Individuals too.
Individuals
we're happy,
too,
just
right.
not just company. We're
Right.
happy to have anyone help us.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is that we don't need any special skills to help out.
That is
Because
true.
there's always
You bring your special skills with you.
Something that you can do. Now, do in your programs, do these foster kids, they're always in foster homes, and some of these activities, people can volunteer to maybe help them with playing baseball or basketball or with some event. Is that the way this works? Because I don't know. I've seen things in other programs, Big Brother and so forth. I've seen those things. Are some of your programs similar to that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
We don't have a central location because our children are located all over Palm Beach County, but we do have the desperate need for more guardian ad litem volunteers. So if someone wants to become involved in helping a child, they can volunteer to be a guardian ad litem. And those are advocates. They meet with the child, they meet with the treating professionals, they meet with the caseworkers, and they come up with a plan as to what is in that child's best interest. And then they present that plan to the judge. And then they remain involved in that child's life during the entire time the child is in the court system.
They become like a guardian angel
Yeah,
to
they
the
are.
child. And a lot of times, even after the child has aged out of the system, they stay with them. They become part of their family. They become the one person that's always a constant, that continues to be a constant in their life.
Yeah. And sometimes they're the only adult in that child's life that the child can count on.
So if I was to volunteer, how much time could I basically give to you? Obviously, if I could give you 40 hours a week, but in reality, if somebody was to volunteer, how much time could they expect that they would help you in?
I think
That
the average is
doesn't-
about 10 hours a month.
10 hours a month, okay.
That's it if you're being
So
a guardian. But
basically
as a regular,
2.5 hours a week.
but as a regular volunteer, an hour is even helpful.
Right.
Whatever.
We
you
always
know,
have
whatever you
projects
can-
going on that you can help.
And what are some of the projects that somebody could help with?
Well, we just had graduation. And to give a slightly fuller picture, nationally, only about 1/2 of the children in foster care graduate high school. We celebrate the children who graduate. And we just recently had a celebration. And we had volunteers who helped pack bags for the kids. We have gift cards in the bags. We have all kinds of things. Tracy, you helped pack the bags. What was in there?
I did. There was cups. There was all kinds of little graduation goodies. There was $100 of gift cards for the kids, so it gave them a nice chance to buy themselves something, so we didn't make the decision for them. They had beach towels for the summer. We gave them cake pops, which Starbucks had helped us out with. And gosh, there was all kinds of goodies, little speakers, like light up disco speakers for them. There was a lot of community support, we also had a lot of people helping us pack them too. It wasn't just me. But, and the graduation ceremony, like I had said, was amazing. And the kids were really, really happy with
So
what
it
they were
sounds
given.
to me like you could use a lot of people actually to go out into the community and find sponsors for your program. People
yes.
that
Oh,
will
that's-
donate.
Oh, yes.
Glad you're saying that, because we actually have a program. If you go on our website as well, we have ambassadors that speak up for us, and they're just like-minded individuals who want to network, who want to meet other people, and who want to be a voice for us as well. And we do quarterly networking events. It's a great time to meet other organizations, other businesses. It's basically a free way to network. We have some ambassadors right now who are on our website, and you get to be featured on there. There's no, right now there's no expense to anyone. You were just giving them the opportunity to speak at our different networking events, to speak for us, and they help, promote Speak Up for Kids and helping foster care. And it's a wonderful thing to do and a great networking. So if anyone is interested in becoming an ambassador for us, please, visit our website, and you can find the ambassador tab. And it's as simple as signing up, sending us your photo, and just letting us know that you're going to join us for our networking events and help pass the word.
Now, are there any other special qualifications, or do you do any background checks on people? Is any of that necessary for what you're asking for in volunteers?
Not for ambassadors, because they're not having direct contact
Okay.
with the children, but people that are having direct contact, like a guardian ad litem, they would require that.
Could you explain that just a little bit more? I get it's an advocacy portion, but I think I asked you early on why the Latin guardian ad litem, and what does that really mean in English? How's that?
What it means is that it's a court-appointed person who acts as the guardian in court for that child. And that guardian comes up with a plan, determines what is in the best interest of that child, and then advocates for that plan to be put into effect, and then follows up to make sure that that plan has been implemented, and make sure that that plan is still the best thing for that child. So the exact translation is somebody who's the guardian in court for the child.
Do they have to have any special qualifications? Do they
Yeah,
have to be
they have
in
to
the
want to
legal
help a
system?
child.
And that's it.
That's
So
it.
They don't
and
have to have
takes-
any
take some
legal
courses,
background
too.
or anything
There
There
like
is
that.
courses
Yeah,
as
it's a
well.
40-hour training session.
Okay, so there is some training to this.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, that's excellent. What else can you tell us about this to get other people, our audience out there that's watching this, to get them engaged, to find out, I'll ask the audience basically, what's your why? Do you have a deep enough why to want to help in this way, especially for young children? I mean, I can't imagine, I want you to visualize right now a young child. And imagine if this was your own son or daughter that was in this situation, how would that make you feel? What would that do? Would that make you want to really reach out and do something? I think so if it was your own son or daughter, right? But how about somebody else's son or daughter? How about
Somebody's
someone
gotta
that
help.
really, really, they need help. That's why they're in the system. So what are you willing to do? Can I push on your heartstrings right now enough that you'll get up and go to the website and volunteer to do something, anything? And it doesn't have to be 10 hours a month. It could be an hour a month. It could be 2 hours a month, whatever that is. But just to do something that will help these kids who are in desperate need for somebody, desperate need for somebody to advocate for them, to help them see that the world isn't dark and bleak, because that's the way they're feeling. They're hurting. They're in deep trouble. And we all need to stand up and try and do something for them.
Our website is speakupforkidspbc.org, and you can find all of our information, from our events to our ambassador program to more information on the Guardian Ad Litem program, ways to donate. It's all there.
And if I can add, even if you cannot physically be present for the child or do an event or help out and volunteer in our office, there is something, it's one of my favorite programs. It's called Gift a Birthday. Children in foster care do not have their birthdays celebrated. We change that. We make sure that every child in foster care gets a card, a cake, and a gift on their birthday.
And sometimes it's the first time
and
they've
sometimes
ever
it's the
even
first-
celebrated,
right.
which is incredibly sad.
So if you go on our website, a donation of $25 will ensure that one child will get a card, a cake, and a gift on their birthday. So even just a $25 donation, if you can do nothing else, a $25 donation will help a foster child. And again, that goes a long way in making that child feel like a normal child.
So unfortunately, we have to wrap up. I'm so glad that both of you were here, that we're talking about Speak Up for Kids. It's such an important program. And maybe you heard it in my voice earlier that this touches me deeply. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. For every one of you that volunteers, you can have one of my books for free. I'd like to actually give you the workbook. And maybe you don't need it, but I think everybody needs it to really find themselves deeply. If you volunteer, they'll let me know. I will give you a book and a workbook so that you can really go deep and to really find yourself, and maybe you can help somebody else in that way too. So you can do a couple of things. But anyway, I'm so pleased that both of you were here. Barbara and Tracy, thank you again so much for being here. This is my pleasure. And this is what I talk about, taking a gamble. Well, for you, take a gamble to help a kid out there. And maybe this is your second chance to do something great in life. Thanks for being here today. I look forward to seeing you again. God bless and have a wonderful day. You have been watching The Wisdom Cafe. Join me each Wednesday at 3 p.m. to explore what it is to be human and create that second chance as I examine ways about how you can have more peace, love, and happiness in your life. Until next week, remember this: when you change what you do and the way you look at things, the things you look at